Just imagine a battlefield where soldiers are lugging around these heavy, powerful rifles. They're hard to control, and they really limit how much ammo you can even carry. Then, out of nowhere, this radical new weapon shows up. It's a lightweight, made of what you call space-age materials, and it fires this small, super high-velocity bullet. That weapon, of course, was the M16. In this explainer, we're going to trace its super controversial birth, its trial by fire in the jungle, and the absolutely incredible legacy that reshaped modern warfare as we know it. Okay, so to really get just how revolutionary the M16 was, we got to go back to the days right after World War II. The US military, and frankly most armies, were totally convinced that the future was all about powerful, heavy-hitting battle rifles. The whole idea was, hey, let's have one powerful cartridge for both our rifles and our machine guns. This thinking really set the stage for a major, major clash of ideas. So on one side, you have the M14 rifle. It's basically an updated M1 Garand from World War II. It's heavy, it's powerful, and it's firing a big 7.62 millimeter round. Then, on the other side, you've got Eugene Stoner's AR-15 concept. And it was the complete opposite. I mean, incredibly lightweight, firing a tiny little .23 caliber bullet, and built with this just radical new design. The debate really came down to this. Do you want a few really powerful shots, or do you want a whole lot of lighter, more controllable ones? Now, what's really fascinating here is that the AR-15 was a true disruptive innovation. You have to remember, at a time when rifles were all wood and steel, Eugene Stoner, who came from the aircraft industry, used materials that nobody'd ever even thought about putting in a gun before. We're talking forged aluminum alloys for the body and composite plastics for the stock and handguards. It was truly cutting-edge stuff back then. But, the military establishment, they were not impressed at all. In fact, the Army actively pushed back against the AR-15. They were just so deeply invested in the M14 and that whole more power philosophy. They even ran these tests that later on were found to be completely biased, all just to make sure their favorite rifle, the M14, got chosen. It really seemed like the little black rifle was dead on arrival. But then, Vietnam happened. The dense jungle warfare very quickly showed the M14's weaknesses. It was too long, it was way too heavy, and it was pretty much uncontrollable on full auto. Soldiers just couldn't carry enough ammo to go up against the enemy's AK-47s, and suddenly the military was forced to take another look at that lightweight rifle they had just rejected. The AR-15 was adopted as the M16 and literally rushed to the front lines. And its debut? It was a complete disaster. The early M16s started jamming constantly in the middle of combat. So, what went wrong? Well, a couple of things. First, the Army switched the gunpowder in the ammunition to a dirtier burning type without doing the proper testing. Second, and this is just baffling, they told soldiers the rifle was so futuristic it didn't need to be cleaned, and then they didn't even issue cleaning kits. The result was a total crisis of confidence right in the middle of a war. So the military had to fix this, and they had to fix it fast. The result was the M16A1. They introduced a chrome-lined barrel and chamber to fight off all that corrosion and gunk. They added the now famous forward assist to help push a stuck bolt forward. And, most critically, they launched massive new training programs that included cleaning kits. These changes completely saved the rifle's reputation and turned it into a reliable battlefield workhorse. So the M16 didn't just survive its disastrous start, it absolutely thrived. It kicked off this decades-long evolution, transforming from one troubled rifle into one of the most successful and adaptable weapon platforms in history. And you can really see this evolution play out on the timeline. After the A1 fixed all those reliability problems in '67, the 1980s gave us the M16A2 with a heavier barrel and a 3-round burst feature. Then in the 90s, the M16A4 came along and introduced the modular rail system, which completely changed its versatility. And that, of course, led directly to the shorter, more compact M4 carbine, which is the primary rifle for most U.S. forces today. The success of this platform is just staggering. To date, something like 8 million M16 family rifles have been produced worldwide. That makes it one of the most widespread and recognizable firearms ever made. The real key to that success was modularity, especially with the M16A4. Adding a rail system meant the rifle wasn't just a rifle anymore. It became a base platform that soldiers could customize for any mission. You need a long-range optic? Just attach it. A flashlight for close quarters? Yep. A grenade launcher? Slap it on the rail. This level of flexibility became the new gold standard. But beyond the rifle itself, the M16's most revolutionary impact really came from what it fired. That little bullet wasn't just a design choice. It fundamentally changed how infantry battles were fought. The 5.56 millimeter cartridge, compared to the old 7.62 millimeter, this thing was tiny. But its small size and its super high velocity were its greatest strengths. This one single change would kick off a tactical revolution that would define the next 60 years of warfare. So why does that matter so much? Well, it's pretty simple math. Because the 5.56 millimeter ammunition was so much lighter, a single soldier could carry way more rounds into a fight. This meant squads could put down a much greater volume of fire, pinning the enemy down, a tactic we call suppressive fire. This chart really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? The average soldier with an M16 could carry 2 to 3 times more ammunition than a soldier with an M14. This advantage didn't just give them more firepower, it actually enabled the development of modern small unit tactics, where one part of the squad suppresses the enemy with fire while the other part maneuvers to attack. That's literally the foundation of how infantry fights today. So all of this, the innovation, the rocky start, the evolution, the tactical revolution, it's all cemented the M16's place in history. It's become way more than just a piece of military hardware. It's a true icon. And that legacy, it's built on real-world experience. Just listen to former Marine Scott Whitner, who used his M16 everywhere, from the jungles of Okinawa to the deserts of Israel. He said, no matter the environment, that rifle performed. The big lesson from Vietnam was finally learned. A clean, well-maintained M16 is an incredibly reliable weapon. And it's this reliability and adaptability that gives the M16 platform an incredible distinction. It is the longest continuously serving rifle in American military history. Think about that. From the early 1960s all the way to today, in one form or another, it has been in the hands of U.S. service members. But is that era finally coming to an end? Well, the U.S. military is now starting to field the M16's replacement, the XM7 rifle. Facing new threats from adversaries with advanced body armor, the military has chosen a more powerful 6.8 millimeter round. The logic is kind of the same as it was in the 1950s, just in reverse. The battlefield has changed, and the weapon has to change with it. The M16's journey is just incredible when you step back and look at it. It went from a failed, controversial weapon in the jungles of Vietnam to becoming a symbol of American military might. It set the global benchmark for what a modern assault rifle should be: lightweight, modular, and effective. Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. The M16 rifle itself is being phased out of frontline service, but its core ideas, using lightweight materials, having a modular design, and focusing on ammunition capacity, those ideas are now fundamental to almost every single modern rifle design in the world. So the weapon itself might be replaceable, but its influence is everywhere.